Hello and welcome to the behind the scenes video for the song Hold On. And in this video I'll be breaking down the whole song structure. I'll be talking through some of the production decisions that we have taken, some of the songwriting decisions that we have taken, what instruments were used, what tones were used, how the vocals were recorded, what's the whole point of this, why am I doing it, all those kind of things. So let's just get started, right? So this whole song is actually in E flat tuning. Why E flat? I don't know, it just sounded cool I guess. So wanted to kind of start off with just simple two chords, that's it. And my philosophy was that let's just get into the song, just not waste any time and then intro has two chords, so does the verse. And kind of drawing this kind of inspiration from how Beatles would typically do it, where they would keep their chords very simple, and that's what would make the song a little bit more catchy. So the song gets kicked off by this little sitar piece here. Check this out. So we couldn't actually afford to get a sitar player, so the easiest solution for us was to just use Omnisphere, and we ended up using Omnisphere for almost all of the tones that you hear in this song. And the most difficult part about Omnisphere is actually finding the right tone that you want, because there are just thousands, tens of thousands of samples in here. So scroll through some of these, found this sitar patch here, and I kind of wanted like a little ping pong type of a delay going on, and added some delays and reverbs here. And if I solo the sitar portion, it kind of sounds like this. So the other cool thing that we decided to do was, as the verse is going on, the sitar is also playing these sympathetic strings, so I was trying to imagine how a typical sitar player would actually approach this song. And what they would do is they would be playing the main notes on one of the higher strings, and then they'll also be plucking one of the sympathetic strings, which give this kind of like an ostinato, like a pedal tone kind of a sound. So as we get kicked into the verse, it's the same main melody, but then we have a sort of this pedal tone going on in the background. And then as we move on to the next few lines, we decided to add another layer of pedal tones, maybe like a higher octave or something, and then as you go to the last few lines of the first verse, we decided to even up the ante a little bit more. So to me, it sounds like one of those Hindi TV shows where the daughter-in-law is just like running down the stairs, and she suddenly trips and falls and breaks her head open or something. So kind of wanted to go with that particular vibe, just so that a song feels more natural and more Indian. So that's the kind of sounds we go for, man. So as this is happening, we have this organ in the background which is just playing those basic E and D chords. Just wanted to have some sort of a depth in the background, so sounds like this. Which are of course followed by the rhythm guitars, acoustic guitars. So as for the vocals, what we decided to do was, Karthik ended up singing the harmonies, and I took up most of the main vocals here, and then the idea was that in the verses, Karthik would be singing the tail end of each of those lines. So it kind of sounds like this.
Blue man goes around. Blue man, feeling down.
So as we move into the second half of the verse, he decides to do something a little different, and then he sings the entire line with me, which kind of creates this cool little effect here.
Vices and melodies, prices and sanity.
So in these last two lines, he decides to sing the lower register, like how Paul McCartney would kind of do it. So that's what we were talking through when we were recording this, right? So,
long live agony. What a tragedy.
So we kind of wanted to go with that Beatles school of thought for this one. And also because we are Indian and Beatles came to India, and actually John Lennon, he got shot because he ordered like a chai tea latte while he was in India. So that's a crime, right? So I mean, it's illegal to actually order chai tea latte when you are in India or anywhere in the world, to be honest. Never call it chai tea latte, please. That's an offense to all Indians. So that's the reason he got shot. So what's happening here is we didn't really want to have a pre-chorus. Just wanted to jump directly into the chorus after the verse. And the idea behind this was that the verse is basically talking about this imaginary character who is kind of like a depressed person, like a blue man, basically, who is just living about his life, going through lots of trials and tribulations, and complaining, always not happy with his life and situations and so on and so forth. And that's what the lyrics are also kind of echoing about. And then when you come to the chorus, we kind of wanted to present that person with a voice of reason, where the chorus is saying something like, hey, have you tried to kill the misery and maybe take it a little bit easy, that sort of a thing. And that led us to sing the chorus in such a way that we needed like a call and response. So this person is saying, have you tried to kill the misery, and then you have these other voices that are kind of accompanying that voice of reason. So we wanted to emulate that little feeling by adding and stacking some harmonies together, and this is what it sounds like.
Take it easy. It's time to feel the victory. Hold on, maybe.
So those are kind of like those accompanying voices in the background. So another interesting thing here is that the chords of the verse are E and D, and the chorus is now in C, A minor and E minor, basically. So the reason why we decided to do it that way is because, again, it kind of comes back to that little songwriting technique where the verses by themselves are kind of being spoken by this imaginary person. They're in a different feeling, whereas the choruses are a little bit more contemplating, because they're giving a little bit more insight to the listener, I suppose. So the main idea for the chorus came to me as I was kind of messing around on the MIDI keyboard, and I was just kind of playing around in the scales and all, and then found this little interesting patch called Jazz Ooze on Omnisphere. I was just scrolling through a bunch of patches here, and then in my head I was wanting something that sounds a little bit more like a human voice. So ended up with this kind of a sound here. So basically that ended up being the main hook for the chorus, and then we started stacking those layers on top of each other. And also we have this guitar chorus here, which is just basically outlining those C, A minor and E minor chords, and just used Guitar Rig 6, one of the one of the free plugins basically, and found a random patch that we liked, and then tweaked some things like reverb and delay and all. And hey, if it sounds good, it sounds good, right? So yeah, so this patch is called what is it called again? I think it's called Pull My Theater, like the pull me under, because we are extremely prog. We also ended up adding this little glass pad in the background, which sounds like this. So one more cool thing that we decided to do here is, as we were transitioning into verse 2, we thought it'd be nice to maybe, bring back the listener into the verse mindset once again. So all this chorus key change is great, but then how do you get back into the verse, right? The trick to do that was through using this augmented chord at the end of the chorus, which sounds like this. So just wanted to realign the listener's perspective a little bit, and then that's where this augmented chord helps in changing your perspective once again from the chorus to the verse. So now we are back in verse 2, and we have more or less the same things as verse 1 before, but one of the main differences here is you notice how the sitar actually is ascending as we are playing that augmented chord. So here as well, we in the second verse as well, we try to keep the philosophy more or less similar as verse 1, where even the vocals would be stacked the similar way, where Karthik is singing towards the tail end of each sentence, like how he did that in verse 1. At the end of this verse, we decided to have like a small guitar chorus leading into the bridge section. Again, we are wanting to realign the listener's perspective back into the bridge. So there's another key change coming. So we want to prepare them for what's about to come up next. So if I can solo that. So that's just playing, I believe, A sus4 and B sus4, which is what the bridge is. And the main chords for the bridge sounds like this. The way that I approach songwriting is that I look at it as a story. So each song needs to say something. It needs to convey a message. Something needs to happen, right? So the best way to write a song is probably to follow the hero's journey, story arc, story circle that was popularized by John Campbell. Let's say you start with the verse in the song. We are imagining that this character is going through, all sorts of complicated feelings in life and whatnot. And in the chorus, we are kind of presenting them with an option that, hey, maybe you should, change your life, change your perspective, all these things. And in the second verse, the character is refusing to actually change their life. They're just saying, okay, why don't you just let me live my life in peace? Like that's what this person is kind of screaming into the void as we are taken into the bridge section. I believe that bridges are actually quite important for any song, because this is where you can kind of pivot, and then the character's motivations may change. To kind of echo that feeling, we have these guitar swells that we kind of snuck in. And then ended up using just archetype Nolly for this one. Again, just kind of went through a few patches that this one already has, and adjusted some of the EQs, some of the levels, added some little reverb and delay, and then that's it. Just works best all the time. So we ended up adding another layer of organ, just playing straight chords, and a little sample of this kind of like a thunderclap, I guess. after the bridge section, we have the guitar solo. And the way that I was approaching this guitar solo section was, or the solo section itself was in two halves basically. So the first half is kind of carrying that melancholy feeling, and then the second half is possibly talking about a change of heart. So if we solo just the guitar and the sitar, it sounds like this. So as the guitar is striking that last D chord, the sitar just kind of takes it from there. I'm slowly trying to cultivate this attitude where I'm trying to let the music come to me first than me playing it on the instrument. Because typically if you're a guitar player or a keyboard player, whoever you are, you have a certain kind of muscle memory, and then you tend to play those same old kind of chords and solos and, pull-offs, hammer-ons, the certain quirky habits that you have. You kind of end up doing it over and over, and then nothing new really comes out of you. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to keep the guitar section only in the first half, and in the second half I just wanted to play the melody that was in my head already, and then ended up kind of messing around with a couple of notes on the MIDI keyboard here, same as described before. Wanted to have those sympathetic strings vibrating in the background as if an actual sitar player would be approaching this. The drummer is actually picking up the beat here. So maybe in the first half of the section, he's kind of meandering a little bit. And then as the sitar solo comes in, he actually picks up the full beat. So as we exit the sitar solo, we come back to the chorus, the main chorus, and then we are back to the same melody as it was before with the same kind of harmonies. And the difference here is towards the end, we kind of wanted to end it on that same augmented chord that was heard during the first chorus. So check this out. So the reason why that little chord exists is because it kind of goes back to that example of songwriting where during the bridge section our character has went through some emotional change of heart, and he has found some revelation and all, and now they're going back into the final chorus with a renewed sense of purpose. But then the song kind of ends on this like little book note where it says, are things really okay? It's still, is it negative? Is it positive? You don't really know. So that was the breakdown and analysis of the song Hold On. Hope you liked watching it, and hope you learned something from it. And if you haven't heard the song already, it's available on all streaming platforms, and I'll put a link in the description below and you guys can go check it out. So alright, see you all in the next one.